Wait till you hear this. The U.S. Supreme Court just made a decision that could put real cash back into Americans' pockets, especially retirees. After years of rising prices and shrinking Social Security checks, this new ruling might finally bring some financial relief. Experts are calling it a quiet tax cut that could make your grocery and medicine bills cheaper in the coming months. And if that sounds like good news, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because I'll keep you updated on every new benefit, payment, and relief program coming your way. Here's what's happening. In a major and unexpected move, the United States Supreme Court has just taken action that could reshape how certain federal tariffs and trade taxes are handled. Now, you might be wondering, what do tariffs have to do with retirees and Social Security? The answer is simple: almost everything. When tariffs are placed on imported goods, it raises prices across the entire economy. Everyday items like groceries, electronics, and even prescription drugs become more expensive. Seniors living on fixed incomes, those depending on Social Security checks, pensions, and retirement savings, end up paying the price. For years, advocates for older Americans have argued that these tariffs act like a hidden tax on retirees, taking dollars directly out of their pockets. But this week, the Supreme Court made a surprising move that could change that. In a closely watched case, the court decided to block a major tariff policy that had been left in place from the previous administration. According to economic experts, this decision could immediately reduce certain consumer costs and potentially lead to broader financial relief for millions of Americans, especially those living on limited incomes. So what exactly does this mean for retirees? Let's break it down. If prices start to fall, even slightly, it can have a big impact on those living month to month. Cheaper goods mean smaller grocery bills, lower costs for household essentials, and possibly even reduced inflation pressure on Medicare and prescription drug prices. One economic analyst described it this way: when the Supreme Court blocks unnecessary tariffs, it's like cutting a quiet tax that most people never realized they were paying. And that quiet tax adds up, especially for seniors who are already struggling to stretch every Social Security dollar. Financial experts are already calling this a hidden win for older Americans. While this ruling doesn't directly increase Social Security checks, it does create an environment where retirees could see real relief in their spending power. Lower prices mean more value from every dollar. But the story doesn't stop there. Lawmakers are now discussing whether this decision could open the door for additional consumer relief measures, including potential refunds or adjustments on over-collected tariff revenue. Some insiders in Washington are quietly hinting that if these talks move forward, part of that recovered money could be redirected toward public benefit programs that support seniors and low-income Americans. Imagine this: a Supreme Court decision leading not only to lower prices, but possibly to expanded government assistance or one-time relief payments. It's not guaranteed yet, but the discussion has already begun. The timing couldn't be more important. With inflation still hovering higher than pre-pandemic levels and many seniors reporting they can barely cover rent, food, and health care, any reduction in consumer costs could mean the difference between comfort and struggle. For those living on fixed incomes, even a few $100s saved over the year can make a huge difference. Several senior advocacy groups, including the AARP, have already praised the ruling. In their statement, they called it a step toward economic fairness for older Americans who've carried the weight of rising prices for far too long. The political impact is also starting to show. Some lawmakers are calling for the creation of a new senior cost relief fund that would use reclaimed tariff revenues to directly support retirees facing financial hardship. Whether this proposal becomes reality will depend on how Congress reacts in the coming months. But it's clear that the Supreme Court's move has reignited the national conversation about how economic policy affects seniors. Meanwhile, financial advisors are encouraging retirees to stay informed and review their household budgets. If certain costs start to decline, they suggest reallocating those savings, either to pay down debt, boost emergency funds, or prepare for future medical expenses. Economists say that while the effects of this ruling won't be seen overnight, the signal it sends is powerful. It shows that the highest court in the land is willing to step in when economic policies start hurting ordinary Americans. And for millions of retirees, that's a reason to feel cautiously optimistic. So, what can you expect next? Over the coming weeks, agencies like the Department of Commerce and the Treasury are expected to issue guidance on how the court's ruling will be implemented. Once those details are released, we'll have a clearer idea of exactly how much impact this decision will have on consumer prices, and whether any direct payments or credits could be coming down the line. Until then, one thing is certain: this ruling marks a rare moment when a legal decision could translate into real-world financial relief for everyday people, especially seniors who've been hit hardest by inflation and high living costs. If you've been feeling like everything keeps getting more expensive, this could finally be the first sign of a little breathing room. And as always, we'll keep you updated on every new development, from potential refunds to government relief programs, so you'll know exactly how these changes could affect your Social Security, Medicare, and retirement benefits. Stay tuned, because what's unfolding right now might just be one of the most unexpected financial turns of 2025, a Supreme Court ruling that could bring real, tangible relief for millions of retired Americans.